All right, for this activity, let us review some of the least used object snaps. Okay, so first, I want you to draw a circle and click the center, drag it, and then type a radius of 3. We're going to copy this circle. So we're going to copy and select the circle, enter, point anywhere, and then drag up and make sure it's straight going up. And you can make sure that it's straight going up by simply making sure that your ortho mode is on. Okay, so you can press this button here in the corner. It says ortho mode. Click that, and that will only allow you to move up, down, straight, left, and right. Okay, so we're going to move that up, and we're going to type in a distance of 8, and then we're going to turn off again our ortho mode. And we're done with the circle. We're going to press enter. Let's just move this to the right. So we're going to need the more ortho mode again. So we're going to do a move and move that circle, press enter, select anywhere, drag to the right. We're going to turn on ortho mode again. And this time we're going to move a distance of 12. Press enter. And then that's it. So pause this video and do those two circles exactly as I did it. The most obvious location of points in the circle, if I click on it, are the center and these 4 quadrants. Okay, these 4 blue grids, and the center is an obvious location where we can attach to a circle. So if you want to draw a line and we want to attach to a circle towards the center, we have to make sure that our object snaps are going to be turned on. Okay, and then circle's center is on. Now, this should be blue on the bottom before it can use, because if it's not blue, then I can attach to any center. So I should make sure that this object snap is turned blue so that if I point to a circle, it would locate the center for us. So I can click here and not there. Just click on the circle. It will attach to the endpoint. As you can see, I can only do left and right, up and down, straight, because my ortho, which is this button here, is on. So I'm going to press on that one. Okay. If I want to attach to another circle center, then I can point to the circle or point to the center. It should locate that for us. Okay. So again, if we click on this one, the attachment to a circle would be a center. And then if I want to attach to the quadrant, which is the 4 points here, okay, it should say quadrant whenever we hover over it. So to make sure, we pull this up and then make sure that the quadrant is on. So when we click on our object snaps on our circle, it should look say quadrant. There you say, see? Okay, so you can attach to a quadrant. So you can click on this quadrant from the center to the quadrant and press escape. If I want to attach to a quadrant and quadrant, so I simply just click line. I want to make sure that my quadrant is on, quadrant here. And then I simply point to the quadrant and to another quadrant over here. All right. So try to practice attaching to quadrants. You can pause now. All right, let's continue and erase these circles. Erase these lines. All right. So I told you that there are a center and 4 quadrants that we can obviously attach to. But what if you want to attach anywhere in between these 2 quadrants? Okay, anywhere between these 2 quadrants or anywhere between these 2 quadrants. If you want to attach to that one, get your line, pull up your O snap, and make sure your nearest is on. Okay, where's your nearest? Nearest. Okay, nearest will attach to anywhere along the object. So make sure you check that one. I can also uncheck all of these just to make sure that we're not going to attach to any other point. So nearest is on. We're going to press here, and we're going to click our line and make sure that we point to a circle, and it should attach anywhere on that circle, anywhere except the quadrant, and it will not attach to anything here because there's no center on our object snaps here. So if you want to attach to anywhere on the circle other than the quadrant, you simply make sure that your nearest is on. Your nearest is on over here, right? And then simply point to the circle. And if you want to attach here, you simply point to the circle. So practice attaching nearest to nearest. Press escape. Okay, so practice attaching to a nearest point and then pause the video now. All right. Now, if you want to continue drawing a line, and if this line that you wanted to draw is going to make a very, very precise connection, okay, you can do that. And then if you want to draw a line precisely where the line will touch the circle somewhere here and somewhere here, this is called tangent, okay? Tangent is a point on a circle where this point here and the center of a circle exactly makes 90 degrees to the line you wanted to make. Okay, so this point here and the center of the circle will make exactly a 90 degrees. So this point here is called a tangent, and this point here is called another tangent. Okay, so if you wanted to make this line where this point and this point exactly make 90 degrees to the center of the circle, that's called tangent. And let's practice that one. So let's erase that line and make a new one. Line, and then pull your object snaps here. And make sure you remove your nears. You don't want to use nears whenever you're using tangent. And then make sure that you click and check tangent. Okay, so point here. So if I want to draw a line, my tangent is on. I can simply point to the circle here. Okay, so if I want the tangent here, I simply click here. And I want the circle or the line to be tangent to this point, so I click here. And these 2 points, press escape, are going to be exactly tangent and tangent. Okay, so this is a exact tangent point, and that's an exact tangent point. You can also do it on top here, line, and I want to do tangent to tangent. Okay, I can also do a line that is tangent at this point and tangent at this point. So if I'm going to erase this, and I want to draw a line, and I want to do tangent here, and I want to do tangent at the bottom, there you go. Okay, so this point and that point will make 90 degrees to the center of the circle. Just to show you, I'm going to draw a line from the center to this tangent point, and that's the end point. Okay, if I try to draw an angle here, so I'm going to do an angle here and pick this line and this line, that angle is going to be 90 degrees. See, 90 degrees. All right, so try to draw your practice your tangent line from point here, this point, that point, this point. Okay, so pause the video now. All right, let's continue. Let's erase this line and all these objects and still use these two circles. Now, if I measure the distance between these two circles, between, not the center from center, because this one, if I click on this one and select aligned, I can measure the center. So I'm going to pull the center here. And I can measure the center to the center. And the distance is going to be 14. Okay, so let's change that property. Right click, property. And then on the property, I want to change my text size. And let's make that a 0.5, so it's a little bit bigger. There you go. So the distance between these two circles, center to center, is 14. If the radius is 3 and 3 here, then I need to subtract 6 from 14, and that's going to be like close to 8. Okay, so if I want to measure the distance between this one and that one, I can pull distance align, and I can measure the distance from this point here. Okay, and I'm going to use if I use quadrant and quadrant, I'm measuring that point. So I mean tangent and tangent, measuring those 2 points. We don't want that. We want the measurement between these 2 points. If I want to be precise, I can temporarily do a construction line from center to center, and then I can now measure the distance between these two intersections over here. Okay, so I can do a line again, and then I can make sure that my O snap intersection is turned on, and I can measure intersection, and the distance match property. I'm going to just copy this property to this one. It's 8.422. Okay, so The reason I'm showing you the distances between these two circles is because we can actually make a curve, okay, between these two circles. Okay, so let me erase this line here, and I'm going to erase this distance here. So if I want to make a curve between these two circles, I can make a circle and then use tangent tangent radius, TTR, tangent tangent radius. So I click that, and then I simply point to these two circles, tangent, and then this other circle, tangent, and then I will have to type on my keyboard the radius I want to do. Now, the radius that I need to do is supposed to be more than half of 8.4. Half of 8.4 is 4.2. So if I put in a distance or a radius of 4, AutoCAD won't be able to draw that arc. So if I type in 4, let me backspace here. If I type in 4 and press enter, it will give me an error and it will say here, circle does not exist because the minimum radius I need to put here would have to be half of 8.4. If I put in 4, which is not half of 8.4, the circle will not exist. So half of 8.422 is going to be 4.2111. If I put in 4.5, then it should be able to draw that radius. Okay, so again, pull this circle down, tangent, tangent radius. I point to the tangent, I point to the tangent, and then more than half of the distance between these circles should be the radius. So more than half is going to be 4.5, 4.3 is more than half. So if I put in 4.5 and then press enter, it should be able to make that circle here. Okay, should be able to make a circle. So I'm going to change the color and make that orange. All right, so that will be the radius is equal to 4.5. So let's put a radius here, right? And then let me just match property. So the radius is 4.5. So let's practice some more, but I want you to practice first creating a circle with a radius of 4.5. Practice also creating a circle that is less than half of 8.4, so you will get a circle does not exist here. So practice first creating a circle with a radius of 4, and then practice creating a circle with a radius of 4.5. Pause the video now. All right, so let's continue. Let's make another circle that has a bigger radius than 4.5. Okay, so let's pull the circle down and then choose tangent tangent radius. Point to the tangent, point to the tangent, and then type the radius. And this time, let's make the radius 10. So what it's going to do is it's going to make a big circle here with a radius of 10 that will be tangent to these 2 points. There you go. Okay, so let me um, zoom out. So this circle here is exactly tangent at this point, and it's a bigger circle because it has a big radius, a radius of 10. So let me change the color, okay, and let me put in the radius. Let me match properties, okay, and there you have it. You have now a circle with a radius of 10 that is tangent to this point and tangent to this point, okay? So pause the video now and practice this yellow circle. All right, so this is very important objects now using tangent, tangent, and then the option to use tangent, tangent radius is one of the important things in AutoCAD because this one will allow you to do curved parts for engineering. Okay, so let's erase these dimensions and we're going to arrange this orange circle. Okay, and if you wanted to create an engineering part where they're all made out of curves and circles, we can use, I'm going to erase this now. We can use this circle and copy that exactly on this location. So what I can do is I can mirror, MI, or you can use this button here, mirror, and then select the object, press enter, and then use the center. So we're going to make sure that center is on, remove intersection, remove tangent, and then I wanted to mirror from the center to the center. And then the last question is, hey, do you want to remove the object? Yes or no? You want to remove the original? I don't. If I answer yes, then that's the original object will be removed. Okay. So I don't want to do that. So I'm going to undo and I'm going to repeat my mirror. I'm going to select enter. I'm going to select the center to the center and then answer here, no, I don't want to erase the original object. Okay. So it's important that you know how to do tangent radius so that you can create um, circular parts of an engineering using trim here. I can trim this portion. I can trim this portion. I can trim this portion and this portion. Okay, and it would create for me this rounded figure. Okay, if I don't want to trim, I simply type U enter, and I'm going to press escape. I'm going to create a new circle here with the radius of 1. So I'm going to create circle, and this time I'll just want center and radius. So I'm going to point to the center. I'm going to drag, and I'm going to type in 1, press enter. Now I have a hole. I'm going to do the same thing here. Pull this down, center radius, point to the center, drag, and then type 1, enter. And then I can now trim again, and then trim this portion, and that is now a engineering part with no lines, just circles and curves. Okay, so practice doing this object from your two circles. All right, let's now continue. um, I want to make sure that this object is exactly the same color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click my layer, and then on my layer I will create a new layer, and then create a new layer name called part, and then make sure that the color is what I want. So I'm going to click this color, and these are my um, definite colors. You don't want to use this. You want to use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's say I want it to be not as thick as the white. White is the thickest. Okay. Well, these two are going to be thicker than white also, but I want it to be less thicker than the white. So I'm going to click magenta and then click OK, and then part is color magenta. So close this now. Make sure that I can select everything here, and then pull the layer here and make sure that the layer is part. Okay. Now you can see now all the objects selected became magenta except these two circles. And the reason behind that one is because this magenta changed color because the object color is bilayer. So that means that whatever layer it is on, it will just adapt that. So if I put this to layer 0, it will become white because layer 0 is white. If I put it in layer part, it will become magenta because the color of the object is bilayer. Now, press escape. These two circles have a color that is precise. It doesn't say bilayer here. So that means that even if I put it on a layer called part, it will not become magenta because it already has its own color. So all I have to do is make sure that this always says bilayer. And because this is in my layer part, it will also now adapt to the color of its layer, which is part. Okay. So this object here again has a definite color. The color is 248, 215, 49. So if you want to make sure that this one copies the colored layer, make sure that this one is by layer. Now, if you have an object that you wanted to copy all the properties of, you can choose match property, and you can select the property that you want to copy from, and then apply that on this one, and it also do the same thing. So this object now has a color by layer, and all the objects, if I select and change it to a different color, will adapt its layer's color. So if I put it in part, everything should be magenta. So make sure that you know how to create a layer. So create a layer called part with magenta, and you know how to change the color that everything should be by layer. Okay, so pause the video now. All right, so let's continue. So far, we have created this part, two circles. The distance is 14.222. We have a radius of, I believe, 10 over here, and we have two circles with a radius of 3. So what if we wanted to actually do this object over here? So we have this part here, but we wanted another circle here with a diameter of 4. So the symbol for diameter is this symbol with a slash on the letter O. The radius or the diameter of this bigger circle is 10. It has a big curve here that's 12. It has a little curve here with radius of 1, a little curve here with radius of 2, and then there is a straight line here that is 2 from the center and center of these two circles. So this is what we wanted to do. And what if we wanted this distance and this one wasn't I didn't complete this. What if the angle between these two lines is exactly 45 degrees? Okay, so that means that those are two things that we need to create first. Okay, so what I can do is I can create a layer and then create the layer called construction, or just shorten it to CONST. Change the color, and I want it to be a definite color, not a definite color, but a color, let's say green here. Okay, thinner than a magenta. I click OK. All right, and then all I have to do now is draw my line from the center to the center. Okay, enter, and then make sure that this one is in layer construction, so it turns green. Sometimes we wanted constructions to be dashed, so I can simply select this, pull the line types here. This is line type, pull it down, and you can see there's no hidden or dash here. So I'm going to click the others so that I can load a new line type, and all I'm going to do is find hidden or dash here. So here's dash. Okay, so I can click dash, click OK. It's now loaded, so I can now click on dash and click OK, and then make sure that if I click this and I pull this down, I can select dash, and um, it should turn the line type to a dash line type. Now you can adjust the spacing of this line type by selecting the line, going to your property. Again, you can do that by select, right click, property, and this one should show up. And then there is here a property called line type scale. So if I change this line type scale to 2, double, the distances of the dash will increase. If I increase that to 3, press enter, it will also increase. If I want that to go back to 1, I type 1, it will now go back to 1. If I want it to be smaller, I have to type here a number that's less than 1. So let's say half, 0.5, press enter. Now it's just closer to each other. So I just want to leave it to 1, but you can change it to whatever number you want. Okay, press escape. And like I said, what if you wanted these two lines here to be 45 degrees? I need to rotate this 45 degrees here. So all I'm going to do is go to rotate, select the line, press enter, and then point to the center here, because that's where it's going to rotate, at the center here. So point there and then move my mouse, but don't click, just move it. So I want my line to be somewhere here, 45 degrees. Once I have it at that location, all I have to do is type 4, 5 on my keyboard and then press enter. And that line now is 45 degrees to the original line. But where is that line? Well, that's the line that we rotated. All we have to do is draw another line back from the center to the center, and then make sure that we match property and select this and that one so they're the same exactly. So those two lines are now going to be exactly 45 degrees. I simply pull this down and put in an angular dimension, select this line, and drag here, and then adjust the text. We're gonna change the text to, I think, 0.5 is what we're using. So now those two lines are 45 degrees. So pause the video and do these two lines at 45 degrees first. All right, let's continue. So we wanted to create this part here, and we started with these two lines that are both 14.222, 14.4222, and we did that by rotating. So let's now continue with making this circle here with the diameter of 4, another circle with a diameter of 10. So we're going to do a circle, and it's just circle, center, radius. Okay, so we're going to pick the endpoint here. So all I do to do is make sure that my endpoint is on. Okay, I can also turn off intersection and tangent. Okay, and then point here, drag, and the radius of a diameter of 4 is 2. So I can put in radius of 2, and that will give me a diameter of 4. And the other circle, the bigger one, has a diameter of 10, therefore the radius is 5. So I can pull the circle, and I can use center radius or directly center diameter. So if I click center, and I drag. Now, because you said diameter and not radius, then you can actually put in a 10 on this one. Okay, so you can drag and put in 10 for the diameter, press enter, and those are two circles. I can immediately match property and point to these two circles. Okay, and do that. Okay, so make sure you do that. Pause the video now and play it later. All right, let's continue. So according to our measurement, we wanted a straight line here that's 2 from the center, okay? And then we're going to create a curve here with a radius of 1, another curve here with a radius of 2. So let's do this portion over here. So back to your drawing, we're going to create here a straight line with a distance of 2. We can simply use our offset, okay? So we can type in offset, OFF, and then pick offset. Okay, and then immediately type in the distance. Okay, so the distance can be 2. So press 2, type 2, and then press enter, and then click this construction line and point to the left. There you have it. Now I don't want it to be construction line, so I'm going to select match property, and I'm going to click my part and then the construction line. Okay, press escape. So now I wanted a curve here with a radius of 1, just like on our drawing here. I wanted a curve here with a radius of 1, and another curve with a radius of 2. So to do that, I'm going to create a circle, tangent, tangent, radius. So I wanted to create a small curve here that's smooth to this curve and it's smooth to this line. So I can go to tangent of a line and then type in a radius of 1. Press enter, and there's my small curve. I can zoom in and I can start trimming this, trimming that. Okay. And I can erase this also. So I can do erase and I can just erase this line. I don't need it. I'll trim this later, but I can also erase this right now. And press enter. And then I can also trim this portion here and then just match property and select one object so it copies that one. So now we now have that radius of 1. Okay, so I can put in a this dimension radius point here, drag somewhere here, match property, click this, and then point to that one. Okay, so now that's a radius of 1. Oh, by the way, if you don't want all these decimals, I can simply select and then right click property, and then you're going to have your properties here, and then you're going to scroll down until you see primary units, and then you see precision, and then you can pull this down and select how many zeros you want to see. You can see that the dimension changes as soon as I hover over it. I don't want any decimal point for my radius, so I can select 0 decimal point here. Okay, and then now I don't have any dimension, decimal point here. Press escape. I can also move that to wherever I want to by selecting no command, select and then select this group, and I can move it to wherever I want to put it. Okay. If you want to make the arrows bigger, you can select that and then go to lines and arrows on the properties and then change this to the same height of your text, 0.5. Okay, this one has a smaller arrow, so I'm going to select that also. Press escape, select this, go to my properties and then change the arrow size to also 0.5 just to make the arrows a little bigger. Okay, so that's how to make this radius. On the other one, I also have a radius of 2. So I'm going to again pull circle, and tangent, tangent, radius, tangent to this circle, tangent to this line, and the radius is, I want it to be 2, so type 2, press enter. That's the radius of 2. I can now begin trimming. Trim this. I want to trim also this portion, and then this portion, and then this portion, and I want to erase this. So I click erase and select this line, press enter, and there you have it. Now all I have to do is simply match property and match this property and that property together, and then put in a radius. So pull this down, make sure it's radius, and pull this small curve here, pull it on the left side over here, use match property and select your first radius to copy the properties on the second radius. So now we have radius of 1, radius of 2, and this very small line as what our part looks like. Okay, so do this now and pause the video so we continue later. All right, let's continue. So next I wanted to simply just put in this big curve here with the radius of 12. So all I have to do is use circle, tangent, tangent, radius, pick this tangent point, and then type in a radius of 12, press enter. You now have that big radius. I can now use my trim, select this, select that, and then trim this other portion. Use my match properties to select the property of this object and that one. And then all I have to do is put in the radius of 12 here, diameter of 4, and then diameter of 10, and then distance here of 2. So I can put in a radius here of 12, and then match property to copy just this one and that one. Okay, I can pull this down and put in diameter and point here and drag here, and then another diameter, point here and then drag here, and then use match property to copy this one to this one and that one. So press escape. So now I have my radius. Okay, I now have to put in 4.222 and 14.222 here. So I'm going to just use this one and select a line, so I can select the center here, or endpoint and endpoint, and then drag here. Use match property, select this and point here, and then put 14.14 only. Now the reason it's only 14 is because this one does not have any decimal places. So if I want to bring back my decimal places, I select this. I scroll down to my primary units and then select precision. And then I wanted 4 decimal places here. There you go. Okay, press escape. Now I can do another align, pick the center here and another center here for endpoint, drag there, and then match property. I don't want to match property here. I want to match property in this and that one, so they both have that. Oh, it's a different dimension because you selected endpoint here. So let's make sure that we're selecting center. So align again and then center. And if you don't want, if it doesn't attach to a center, you can just type in CEN, enter, and it should force center, and then drag here and then match property. This one and that one is now going to be the same. And the last one is this dimension of 2 here. Okay, to do that, you're going to do again an align dimension and then simply point here at this point, and to that point is called nearest. So you can type in NEA to force a nearest point. So it attaches somewhere here, and then simply go here to perpendicular. So PER, enter, and point perpendicular, drag somewhere here, and then match the property. And I don't, if I match this one and this one, it'll still have decimal places of 2. But so if I don't want decimal places, I match this and do. I want to match the property of this one and that one to give me a 2. Okay, so there you have it. We have one more to do, so pause the video. You can rewind it so you can do all of this portion here. But go ahead, pause the video, rewind it before we continue. Now all we have to do now is make sure that these dimensions are going to be thinner than the rest of these parts. So I'm going to get my layer and then create a layer, and we're going to call it dim for dimensions, and click the color, and the thinnest color or the thinnest line is red. So click that, click OK, close this now, and then select this, make sure it's by layer, and then put or select all of your dimensions all at once. You can just simply do that all at once, and then pull this down and select dim, and then now it's in layer dim. Okay, so pause now and change the dimensions to layer dim. All right, the last portion of this reviewer lesson is to set this up for printing. So to do that, we are going to go to layout, and it will immediately show you the your drawing inside the viewport. Okay, so first we're going to do a right click on the layout and do page setup. We're going to modify the layout, and the first thing that we're going to do is make sure that the name of your printer plotter is AutoCAD PDF. We're also going to make sure that we pull this down and use our Engineering 9 CTB. Okay. And then we are going to use a paper called ANSI Beef Full Bleed and 11 by 17. So if we select 11 by 17, it's going to stand up. We don't want the one that's standing up. We want the one that is in landscape mode. So we want the 17 by 11 NCB full bleed, and then everything else is just okay for now. So we're going to click OK and then close it, and then that's what it's going to look like. And then if we do a preview, press enter, and that's how it's going to look like. All right. So we have thick and thin lines, and then all we're going to do is make sure that this doesn't show up. So we're going to close this, select the viewport, and then make sure that it's in layer def points. Okay, I'm going to actually change color def points here so I know that it's on color def points. I'm going to select orange here and then click OK. So I know that all the orange objects will not show in print. So I'm going to again type in preview. Okay, and then that's just how it's going to look like. So all you're going to do is put a title block here. Now, if I wanted to actually show this at a specific scale, okay, all I have to do is double click the viewport. So now you're inside the viewport, and on this right side, you can change the scale of your drawing. So the scale will make it bigger or smaller. So if you select 1/2 equals 1 foot, then that's going to be smaller. All right. To make it bigger, you need to select something bigger than, um, smaller than 1/2. So if I select 1/4, it's going to become even smaller. If I select uh, 1/8, it's going to be even smaller. So you have to do the reverse. So select here, and then if I want it to be actually bigger, I can put in 3 inches to a foot. Now it's bigger. I can go out now of the viewport by double clicking, and I can actually move the whole viewport. I can adjust the viewport by selecting the line of the viewport and then using the grips to adjust here and there. Now, if I am inside the viewport, so I'm still outside, press escape, and you'll see a triangle here, right? You're in layout. But if you double click, you don't have the triangle, you now have your XY. That means you're inside the viewport. And the viewport scale is 3 inch equals 1 foot. Now, if you're not careful and you accidentally zoom out by using your scroll wheel on your mouse, if you're using a mouse, you're changing your viewport scale. So make sure that when you change your viewport scale, I think I made it bigger to change that you also lock your viewport here, okay? So that even if you're inside and you zoom in, zoom out, it will not change the scale. You're locked into 3 inch 1 foot. So double click outside, and then all you have to do is insert here your title block. Once you've inserted it, you can do a preview with your title block, and you will see your drawing, okay, with your title block. And then you also need to put a title on your drawing. So you can put a text and then multi-line text, and then make a text there and type in exercise A, highlight the whole thing and change the size here. Let's do 1, enter, and then click OK. And if that's too big for you, you can select this and you can change the actual text height here to smaller, zero point 0.5. There you go. You can pull this triangle so to expand and make it one piece. And you can move that and put that wherever you want on top of the viewport. And then so when you preview, you have your drawing, and then all you have to do is put in your title block, and that is the final piece of this review exercise. Okay?